Have you ever felt awkward trying to strike up a conversation with someone you just met? Charisma is not a gift, it's a skill that anyone can learn. I learned 3 powerful lessons that transformed my ability to build trust, overcome challenges, and leave lasting impressions. Through these 3 lessons, especially the final one, you'll walk away with the knowledge and frameworks needed to build a successful life through connection with others. Ready to discover the secrets to infinite charisma? Let's get started. The first lesson learned from knocking on over 10,000 doors was that trust is absolutely everything. Have you ever wondered why our species has become the dominant force on this planet? This is primarily due to our unique capacity to cooperate, and that is entirely built upon trust. We trust that others value the currency that we use, that bridges are properly made by engineers, and that our taxi drivers will get us to our destination. Oftentimes, this trust is mediated by an authority, such as a company or government that we trust to do what they say. However, this certainly applies to individuals. You would never give someone your hard-earned money if you didn't trust them, right? My job at the time was to knock on doors to sell contracting work, which was primarily exterior house painting. In order to go from saying hello to leaving with a check in my hand, I had to rapidly build deep trust over and over. I used to write down pages upon pages of objection answers, basically responses to what to say when a potential client said no with a specific reason why. But over time, I realized that exactly what we say is at most 5% of the equation. The only way to earn a yes with whatever we ask others for is with trust. One way to build trust is with connection, which is why I'll teach you how to talk to absolutely anyone in our third and final lesson today. But there are several other ways to build trust with others. Here are 3 of my favorites. The first is through consistency. If we can show time and time again that we have clear, unchanging values and answers to important questions, others can trust that they know who we are. This includes sticking to our word. Lying or breaking promises is a surefire way to destroying your trust in just an instant. Secondly, active listening is key. This comes through showing that we listen when others talk, empathize with their perspectives, and genuinely care about them as people. My favorite way to express this trait is by repeating and rephrasing other people's perspectives back to them, so that way I can make sure that I fully understand how they feel. Oftentimes, despite my best effort, I'm wrong about my interpretation. This effort, even when incorrect, shows genuine intention to understand and builds deep trust. Lastly, we can build deep trust by simply admitting imperfection. Sorry to break it to you, but no one's perfect. People know this, and someone who portrays themselves as such just set off too good to be true alarm bells in other people's heads. Admitting to our mistakes and genuinely trying to improve is all we can do as fellow human beings. Owning our mistakes with pride and sharing what we learned is a way to earn trust and empathy with truly anyone. But what do you think? Unfortunately, not everyone is deserving of our trust. Please do comment below. What are some things that other people have done that have broken your trust in them? I'd truly love to hear your stories and thoughts and look forward to chatting below. The second lesson I learned is with a strong enough why, you can bear any how. Objectively, my job at the time really sucked. No matter how much of an extrovert you are, knocking on doors and calling phone numbers all day is draining. Not to mention if you're getting paid 100% on commission and most of the time go home with $0 earned even after grueling days. Not only this, but I was missing so many fun college experiences to go out in the rain or snow and knock on doors for hours on end. The reason I put up with all this and was glad to do so? I had a strong why. Actually, I had 2 distinct whys for giving this job everything I had. Firstly, at the time, money was a strong motivator for me. I was the stereotypical broke college student, so getting paid for my performance rather than by the hour was extremely motivating. But the second and more powerful why for me was proving to myself that I could succeed. Over 90% of those who started this job quit within the first month or 2. With every person who quit, my desire to succeed became even more entrenched. I didn't want to fail or quit because I had tied this job to my self-worth. Now, looking back on this, was this the healthiest thing to do? Probably not. But was this extremely motivating to be the best? You bet it was. I also felt like I was sacrificing now to build a better life for my future, which turned out to be true. While I in no way compare my struggles to those that he faced in his life, there's a famous quote by Viktor Frankl that applies here. Suffering ceases to be suffering at the moment it finds a meaning, such as the meaning of a sacrifice. Our perspective of the meaning behind our actions and the situation is everything. Grit, determination, and consistency can get us anywhere, but these are all characteristics born out of a clear sense of purpose. Out of the thousands of people across the country in this job, my clearly defined and deeply motivating whys allowed me to become number 1 in the company. You can truly do anything you set your mind to. All you need is to know your why. The how will follow. Before I teach you the final and most important lesson on taking your charisma to the next level, I kindly ask that if you gained any value from this video, that you please do subscribe. If you're new here, I share wellness and productivity related videos every other Friday. Time is our most valuable resource, and it would truly mean the world if I've earned the few moments it takes to subscribe. Thank you. The third and final key lesson I learned from knocking on over 10,000 doors was how to talk to anyone. I was no cunning salesman who knew all the right things to say and had 100 objection responses memorized. My sales technique was very simple. Truly get to know them as people. I talked for hours with people from a plethora of religious, ethnic, and political backgrounds. My goal was to learn at least one interesting thing about them when I knocked on their door. This could be absolutely anything and was usually situational. Let's say a dog ran up to the door. Great. How old? What breed? Did you grow up with pets? The same could be the case with kids, a cool painting in their entryway, or something else. I would then have some type of conversation starter when I came back days or weeks later for an estimate. Now, this didn't always work. Sometimes people were in a rush and I couldn't get a fun fact out of that initial conversation. This is where I learned about the magic of FORD. FORD is an acronym that stands for family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. These are the categories that people love to talk about. Everyone is totally different, but all people have something that makes them glow when they talk about it. Some people might want to gush about their families, talk about work, share what they do for fun, or discuss what they want to do in the future. On the other hand, some people might want to talk about only one of these things. Generally speaking, most people only want to talk about their dreams once we've earned significant levels of trust. The way we can talk to anyone using this method is by being a cartographer, mapping out rivers and streams. Streams are where we get a small amount of traction in a conversation or learn something new about someone. Some streams get wider and wider and eventually turn into rivers, which are topics that someone can talk for hours about. Our objective is to ask open-ended questions to map out the conversational landscape with FORD as our guide. Did the occupation-related questions seem to bore them? Great, let's move on to recreation or family. My rule of thumb was always to ask 2 questions, share my thoughts once, and repeat. No one likes being peppered with questions like an interview, so we connect with them by sharing about ourselves in that golden 2-to-1 ratio. And remember, confidence is key. The more open we are about ourselves, the more open our conversation partners will be too. By sharing our perspective on the questions we ask in this way, we provide ample opportunity for others to genuinely connect with us. No matter someone's background, you can use FORD to find rivers and streams using the golden 2-to-1 ratio and connect with anyone you meet. And now that you have the tools to connect with anyone, imagine having 1,000 more hours each year to put those skills to work. Cutting out a single harmful habit that most people have can unlock that time for you. This gives you the time to grow, create, and live intentionally. This small change is very likely simpler than you think and can be truly life-changing. Curious about what this habit is and how to gain back 1,000 more hours of your time? Watch the short video on your screen now. I'll see you there.